questions to no more than 1 and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Okay, thank you. Dr. Schoen, do you have a report for us?
I do, and it's short and sweet but powerful. Opening day was spectacular, and it was spectacular for the administrators that put it together, for our band, for our color guard, for our speaker, for the Mahwah School Foundation. We came together as such a family and such a team. I don't think we could have started our school year off better than what we did, and a big thank you. The beginning of the year was equally spectacular. The administrators and our teachers welcomed students with open arms and smiles. We had the opportunity, central office staff, to be at all of the buildings throughout the day, whether it was arrival or as the day was unfolding. Kids were happy, teachers were happy. I don't think we could have asked for a better opening. A big thank you to our custodial staff, our facility staff, our tech staff, for making sure that we were up and running and ready to go. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful year. So it was really a great start. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Bleeker.
Yes. Echo what Dr. Schoen just had mentioned as far as opening day, and a big thank you to the technology and custodial support staff, secretarial staff working over the summer as well. Big thank you to all of them for what they do leading up to the opening day, as well as to the administrative team that I work with, the admin retreat, the new hire orientation, and all the open day festivities was a really team effort that was great to see. STEAM Edition, as I've said the past couple of meetings, is still going very well. Please go check out the website for updated pictures as well as a progress report. We update that every month. We did lose 1 day of work this week due to the weather on Monday. However, that does not put us behind schedule in any of the critical areas where we are. The back parking lot for the cafeteria loading dock area is open and functioning very well so far. We're looking to top coat that hopefully in the next couple of weeks before the asphalt plants close for the winter season, which typically they do around November. So that'll be the other thing seeing, and some of the interior walls of the STEAM project should be, or STEAM Edition, should be coming up shortly as well. The one other item, final item I wanted to briefly discuss is item 16A on the agenda. That is the board resolution to accept the retirement of Mr. Scott Vandermark, our supervisor of buildings and grounds. Just have a few words here about Scott. Just a few. I'm sure there's many more I could say, but I wanted to keep it brief. Scott was hired on April 1st, 1993, but before he was an employee of the Board of Education, he was also a student, having attended Mahwah schools for kindergarten through 12th grade. He was a graduate of the high school class of 1974. Scott was an athlete who played football and basketball for the Thunderbirds. That's only when he wasn't a caddy at the local golf course, skiing at Camp Mountain, or swimming at the municipal pool. Scott has played part in major renovations and additions at all of our schools, as well as, of course, the construction of a brand new school within our district, Lenape Meadows, and the transition of students and staff from Commodore Perry School. Scott has a genuine passion and love for all things Mahwah and Thunderbird Blue that will certainly be missed by everyone. We wish him the very best in retirement.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Mr. Fair, do you have anything for us this evening?
I have no report.
Thank you very much. The board committee reports. We have any board committee reports this evening?
Just briefly for policy committee on 15G, we have first reading of policy and regulation 5561. Which is just an update to use of physical restraint and seclusion techniques for students with disabilities. Policy 8462, reporting potentially missing or abused children. For the first one, we're not instituting new anything. You know, they're updates to the they're minor updates.
They're
And
updates
it's
to,
mandated too.
it's
Right.
mandated, but only the contact person is the only change. It originally had Dennis as our assistant superintendent. It has always been our director of special services, and we wanted to go back to that.
Right.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this evening? Okay. I do not have any report this evening as well. Do you have any board member remarks or comments? Wanna go forward? Yes, Mr. Gallo.
Linda Zaccone and Peter and I visited the Rampa Ridge at the end of August to meet with Mr. Corey and Mrs. Whalen, and we had a fantastic visit. We were very impressed by the landscaping improvements, the paint improvements, the overall look and feel of the building was a remarkable difference. A lot of work went in over the summer. There's a whole new energy over there, and we look forward to seeing how that journey progresses. It was the auditorium itself. I mean, when my kids were there, it was sort of grim. The paint job did a remarkable job. The stickers on the windows, got the Mahwah theme going there. They did a lot of work. It really was very, very noticeable.
A lot of those choices that were made at Ramapo Ridge were a result of the Climate and Culture Committee that they have in place there that were nice enough to come in during the summer and give us some suggestions of things that they like. Yes, Mr. Jean, thank you. Because no, really, because you guys really did an amazing job, and it takes a team to do those things. You came up with the ideas, it takes a board to support it, and it takes leadership to make it come to fruition.
And you saved the teacher's room.
And the teacher's
It's
room
beautiful.
is,
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
it is phenomenal, but there are extra pieces that were added, and curtains that were brought in by you guys, and you pick the furniture. It makes you feel like a home away from home, and one that you should be proud of, and you richly deserve.
We need
So,
pictures.
it's absolutely and completely
Keep the
awesome.
They're
suggestions
on
coming.
Twitter, they're on Twitter.
They're on Twitter, but everything is on Twitter. A lot of things.
I'm not on Twitter.
No, you
yet,
just
not
check it
yet.
out, not yet.
I'm a Twitter voyeur.
Kim, I just wanted to highlight what a tremendous opening day. I've been to several of them in different capacities as MSF president, now on the board, and I'd say hands down, one of the best ones that I've attended. And I think it was particularly touching because there was a student who came and spoke at the end who was a graduate from 10 years ago, and hats off to his story and his presentation. I think we all had kind of a tear in our eye, but it was very moving in that he
Yeah.
struggled with some things, but really utilized school and teachers as a support through what he was going through in his personal life. And I think sometimes teachers don't always know that, but just because you're there and just because he felt that, it was a tremendous, and he presented it so you felt what he felt.
It
And
was very sincere, and I think his most
It was
powerful line was, the
beautiful.
difference was you. And he looked
Absolutely.
up at 500 staff members to say, you made a difference. And he made the point of saying, you all weren't here when I was here, but you need to understand the impact. And you couldn't help but think when kids walk in the next day, what their story is. And do they have one?
Right.
And maybe
Yeah.
they do, and maybe we need to consider that. And so we can tell our teachers and our staff the awesome job that they do every day, and they'll say thank you very much, and they may even say, well, you're supposed to say that, right? Because you're in the position you're in. But when you hear it from a student who you helped coddle along the way, I don't think there was a dry eye in the house, but it was a good not having dry eye in the house.
Yeah.
So,
And-
thank you.
Yeah, no, and the interesting tidbit to it was I spoke to John Pascal afterwards, and John said in the 4 years that he was at the high school, John knew nothing about his personal struggles and his story, in the fact that he was a student there. So again, it wasn't something that everyone knew about, but he really utilized the strength of school and education to,
It also
to
speaks to the
benefit.
trust of our staff that work with
Fantastic.
students individually and hold on to their story and help them. They don't make it a faculty room conversation. And I think that speaks so highly to the people that we have in this district, and that's what makes it so special to me.
Fantastic.
It spoke very powerfully to me of the reminder of how important everybody's role is in making this happen, and the importance of our mission. that we start with a kindergartner who's somewhat lost in the world, but at the end of the day, if we have them, and we're fortunate enough to have them till the end of high school, that we can do remarkable things with remarkable people, and we have a remarkable community that supports this endeavor. And that at the end of the day, we have somebody come back 10 years from now who had a very difficult situation, but can, with gratitude and acknowledgement of the help that he got in our school system, it's remarkable. It reminds me why I do this, so.
Why we all do, Mike.
Why we all do this.
Why we all do what we do in
Exactly.
whatever capacity we're in. So we're happy that it ended up being as inspirational, which is what we wanted to when we planned it.
It was fantastic.
It was wonderful.
Anyone else? Good, okay, thank you. All right, I would like to take old business. Old business, please. Ms. Conica, second by Mr. De Silva. Could you take a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarsky,
To abstain on the non-executive portion.
thank you. Ms. Conica,
Yes.
Ms. Mavertich,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. I'd like to motion to move on new business, 15A through N. May I have a motion to proceed? Mr. Gallo, second by Ms. Saccone. Do you have any questions, comments?
Just a quick echo what we said for, Scott, I'm very happy, long retirement, well deserved.
Most definitely. Ms. Scott.
Yeah, I don't understand why we have to vote on this. That we're gonna allow him to leave.
Well, you can vote no.
Oh, and there should be a provision that he's gotta come back for snow plowing.
I gotta tell you, it's exactly what I said to him, February 1st, really?
And we also need a non-complete, non-disclosure agreement with him, because he has all that Mahwah
Has a Mahwah
Thunderbird
garb.
gear, and he's gonna
Yeah.
probably just go off and create a website to undercut us. And,
He'll be wearing that
he's gonna be,
always.
yes,
He's
exactly.
got
We-
antique Mahwah
Yeah,
gear.
I've only
Yes.
gotten to know Scott the last 2.5 years or so. It's been, he's been a remarkable asset to our district. The knowledge that he sort of walks away with is very important to us, so we hope to stay in touch. But a person who's clearly been dedicated to our students and to the district for 25 plus years. Many best wishes for his retirement.
Ditto. I'd just like to mention, we have an Eagle Scout project on our agenda this evening, so do I see an Eagle Scout in the audience right now? No?
No.
Okay, you're not old enough to be
Remarkable.
In training.
But you
Project
have
is not completed, he
I
can't
know
be
it's,
an
I
Eagle Scout.
know,
shall
but you're
see.
here.
You shall see.
And we are very grateful for the project, which will be a press box for the Mahwah High School baseball field. So when you get to be an Eagle Scout and you come here, we'll acknowledge you.
I'd like the Eagle Scout to explain his project a little bit.
He's not here.
Oh, he's not here.
I'd like him to explain it too.
I'm very appreciative of that, so we look forward to voting yes on that. So now we've got the motion to proceed. Would you please take a roll call?
Okay, for 15A through N, Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarsky,
Yes.
Ms. Conica.
Yes, except abstain on 15N.
Ms. Mavertich,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes, but I will also abstain on 15N.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. Okay, we have a motion to proceed on 16A through K. Mr. Gallo, second by Ms. Conica. Any questions, comments, concerns on any of those items? It's good to go. Okay, would you please take roll call?
Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarsky,
Yes.
Ms. Conica,
Yes.
Ms. Mavertich,
Yes.
Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. Okay, public questions or comments? This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes.
Hi, my name is Christina Hermanson. I attended the Mahwah Public Schools from kindergarten to 8th grade, and now I am a junior at Bergen County Technical High School. I'm in the law major, and when you're a junior in the law major, you're take a class called Public Policy, where you implement a public policy in your home community in hopes of bettering your community. About 6 months ago, I graduated from the EMS Academy in Paramus.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have been riding on the Mahwah EMT squad ever since. Something I've noticed on our squad is a lack of young blood in the community. Everyone on our squad that's young is in college, and they do not live in Mahwah, and they're gone over the summer, which leaves us in a really bad position for riding, especially in the summertime when all the college students are gone and the only people who are able to ride are over the age of 60. It's just, it doesn't really, we have a lot of gaps in our schedule, and something that I'm really passionate about and I really want to get involved in is increasing volunteerism, and something that I really think would help is making the EMS classes more accessible to teenagers. When I decided I wanted to be an EMT, I had no idea how to go about it, and I only was able to do it because my dad was a councilman and he knew people on the ambulance corps who I could talk to about the course. And when all my friends asked me how I did it, I was like, I went to the ambulance corps and I talked to the woman, and then she talked to other people, and it was really complicated. And then I had to get funds to pay for the class because it's $3,000, and I'm going to be a volunteer, so I'm not even being paid. So I wanted to know if you would be open to possibly starting a trial class at Mahwah Public High School for juniors and seniors for EMTs. It would require, we would have to get splint sets and KEDs and a bunch of equipment to run the course, and I would have to do a lot of work, and I'm very 100% willing to devote hours of my time to it, but I want to make sure that the Mahwah schools are open to the idea of implementing it as an elective for students to take. If they're maybe not interested in going to college or are more interested in public services, it's really great for resumes. If you're interested in the medical field, if you're interested in becoming a police officer, if you're interested in going into the military, it's a great resume builder that a lot of teenagers just don't know is accessible to them right now in New Jersey. And I think that if I was able to get maybe just one class of kids involved, we might be able to increase our volunteerism in our community. And we'd also be able to increase our riding potential, which would help residents of Mahwah save a lot of money by not paying for private ambulance companies, and we'd be able to keep our volunteer department open longer.
Well, first things first. We did a great job with your public speaking. Thank you again, Mr. G. That was a good kid.
She had her, she absolutely had her.
So number one, that was extremely articulate and well thought out, and the questions that we were coming up as you were talking, you were answering. What does it look like? What does it entail? What does it mean? The money. It was heartfelt and sincere, and I love the idea. However,
Yes.
you're talking about the high school, and that's Mr. Pascal's world, right? John Pascal. My suggestion is that you shoot Mr. Pascal an email. You let him know that he spoke tonight, that he could either look at our video that we take or pull up Mrs. Slockbauer's video. Either way, he will be able to hear your presentation to get an understanding of where you're coming from. And then I would in turn think that he'll probably sit with Mr. Pascal, he'll sit with Dr. Toro, right?
Yes.
And let's kind of see what that looks like and what that entails, and is it best to start an elective, is it best to do an evening course? We have a parent academy now, could we include kids along with that? I don't know, but I think the idea is excellent, and what I love is that it will absolutely affect and benefit our community. And the fact that you would like to use us as a resource is good. Dad's great, but you got us too. So we'll do a little bit of both. So could you do that, send an email to Mr. Pascal?
Absolutely.
I'll let him know it's coming, and then he can arrange a meeting. Absolutely, let me do it live. J. Pascal, P-A-S-C-A-L-E, at, ready?
Yes.
Mahwah.K12.NJ. You should really text him now and let him know it's coming. She's gonna be like, I'm at a meeting.
I'm gonna say, before we get to karate, where she's going next,
So
he'll have it.
it's Mahwah.K12.NJ.US.
And his personal cell phone.
I can do that. In fact, would you like to talk to him in the bathroom?
What's the minimum age, the requisite age to become a part of it?
Great
So
question.
right now it's 16. There was a movement to change the state regulations to the national regulations, which makes it 18, which would make the class only open to seniors,
Right.
which would be unfortunate. But it is federal. I think it's a state regulation that's going through. I'm not sure if it's going to go through, but I was informed that my certification is still valid, but it might affect some of my friends who want to become EMTs. but it is at least, it will, at maximum, it's going to be 18, but currently it's 16.
I think it's definitely worth a conversation. It
Yes.
takes time to put these kinds of things together, but I think the idea is awesome, and let's see what we can do and what avenue would be best where it can be served.
Okay.
I've got a quick question.
Yes,
And so obviously this is part of your coursework, what you're doing now.
yes.
And I'd imagine there is a timeline where you have to be able to pull the trigger or not. What is your timeline that Mr. Pascal needs to be aware of?
Is this personal, or is this part of the public policy piece that you referred to in the beginning?
A little bit of both. My public policy course, for the policy that I'm choosing to start, the research for that project isn't supposed to start for, I don't know, about 6 weeks. But I'm really passionate about this project, so I wanted to start research as soon as possible.
What Mr. De Silva is saying is that are they intertwined? In other words, do you have a deadline for public policy, and does it have anything to do with the elective request you're asking of us?
No, the public
Okay.
policy course just allowed me to write essays, basically. I would present to boards like you, basically, at the end of the school year. So I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit.
You'll never find a board like us.
That was great.
Where did you do your
Thank
training?
I did mine in Paramus, I believe, through the Fires Academy. It has about 150 students to start, and we normally lose about half of the class because the course is so rigorous and it goes so fast.
Thank you.
If we were able to stretch it into a school year, it would be a lot easier to keep students up because it wouldn't be a 4-month course with maybe, I did like 6 hours of work a night on that. It was kind of
It's
nuts.
crazy. That's why I'm thinking that maybe that night piece is something for us to consider, and that you may be able to also have older people than 17-year-olds, right, or 16, 17, 18.
Yes.
If you do a parent academy, there may be some young people in town, older than that may want to do this, and if we offer a place for them to do it. So,
Or instead of an elective, maybe it could be a club where the goal of the club is to
the
achieve
training piece of it,
certification.
exactly. I don't know
So
what
it could
avenue
be
I'm
out
saying.
There are a bunch of different ways that
Yeah.
that might happen.
That's a great idea.
It is, and Mr.
Fantastic.
Pascal is your best person. Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Okay,
No,
crowd.
no,
page.
mine is real simple. I'm gonna make sure I put this on the record this way. Ron Hermanson, 6 Mason Street, Mahwah, New Jersey. First of all, as a parent of my daughter, I cannot tell you how proud I am of what she just did and what she has done in the last year. She was able to maintain an extremely high CUM grade point average and still be able to do this course and put it forth. In fact, I met some of her teachers, and her teachers could not believe that she was actually doing this through her school year and being able to accomplish what she did and continuing to go through. I think as a parent, knowing that there's kids who are looking to volunteer and do things here, to have something like this where you could make it as an elective as opposed to having it crammed all into the basically a 4.5 month period to get these hours in, to do it over that time, to spread it out a little bit, would be just so beneficial to the kids and to also to parents who are sitting there as I'm running back and forth to Paramus or to wherever at this point to be able to do it here in our own town is just a great thing, and it just would offer so much to the community, because one of the things that we hear is we're not getting enough volunteers, we can't get people to come in, how are we going to get more people to ride, how are we going to get more people on fire. She didn't say this, but she did say it to me in the car as she was coming in here. She said that she'd also think maybe it was a way of doing it with fire, of having people with fire at the same time, so we could do both. That there was one thing with fire and one thing with ambulance. And I think it's a great idea because there are kids who aren't going to go to college, but there are kids who could set themselves up in a career as a paid EMT and who are doing that. My nephew right now is riding in New York City as a paid EMT for the fire department. And I think that that is something that then can benefit those kids in the future to help them, to make them successful in what they're doing. We also have a very brand new center on MacArthur Boulevard with a very large hospital that I think that may be willing to do something and put their name on it, that may we be able to reach out to them and ask them to donate some of the things that we might need for that course. And I would also think that they would probably be very happy to have instructors or people who come in to help out and do that. So that was the part that I just wanted to add. I think that we also have a tremendous resource here that we could, in the town, that I think that we can tap into. And I think as a public and private partnership here, which is I think things that are the most important thing that we can try to do in the community is how to work our public and private people together. This, I think, is something that could be a real home run here.
Sounds great,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Robinson, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
You have to go because she has to go to karate. She's gonna-
She can save people and
Thank you.
take them out.
Good luck. Anyone else? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn? Ms. Conoco, second by Dr. Morphy. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.